Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Well, unfortunately for this field report, well, for me, I'll give you my field report yesterday. Understanding and not being very good at assembling patio furniture. It's a long story, and it took a long time. I'm just not very good with that kind of stuff. Anyway, lots of reports coming in, though, yesterday via text, via photos, and phone calls. Actually, a couple of phone calls of where in the world should I go? And several of them were, well, not several, but a couple of them, buddies that were fishing or spending their time in the dead zone. And we're going to talk about that here later on in that Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week as to where that is. We'll map it all out for you. Where can we get away from the weeds? Well, obviously, not obviously, maybe. The further upriver you go, the better off you are to get away from the weeds. And then if you get down past I-5, you get down to Davis, Frenchman's, all the way down into Caterpillar and all that stuff, generally a lot of the grass is coming from upriver, mouth of the Sandy, Washougal, and some of the other tributaries and some of the other sandbars that are coming out. I don't know where all that grass goes. I don't know if it ends up down low or just gets pushed to the other side. I couldn't even tell you. But it doesn't seem like it's nearly as bad when you get down there. Now, you get down to the mouth of Lewis, and that can get tricky. That can get nasty down there as well. So if the grass is really bad where you are, you're just going to have to cover ground. And in my mind, typically I'm going upriver, depending on where I'm at. And again, it's in the dead zone. So with a prop on a 250, I'm just covering some ground, getting out of there, because it is a nightmare. I would expect it to improve, much like I mentioned yesterday. Tides are starting to flatten out a little bit. You're not going to see as much of a pull on all that grass and moss and stuff that's on the bank because of those tides. So that should hopefully help. Overall, though, yesterday, I talked to a couple of really good, a couple that really aren't, well, I'm just teasing. They're all good, pretty good at it. Nothing. I don't know of a single fish caught from what I would call the quote-unquote dead zone. Now, that doesn't mean that there weren't. I'm sure that there were. But I don't personally know of any, and the folks that I spoke with never saw a net ply either. Now, those reports as you go downriver don't seem to be a whole lot better until you get into the Buoy 10 area. At least it's more consistent, but still slow. We're going to find out about that here in just a little bit on how the fishing is. Yesterday, we talked with Shane Magnuson down there at the mouth of the Rogue. Now, I never got an update from him on how things went for them, but we did have some folks that were watching that did contribute some information saying that there was some fish caught yesterday and at least had been good up to that point. So it was kind of cool to know that we were interacting with some folks that were further down south that were spending some time fishing in that zone. So overall, I would just say all we can do is hope that things are just going to improve the next handful of days. I actually had to cancel a trip not cancel, we just made a decision to move it a week away. I was going to take Andy out and go do some fishing. It's just not worth it right now because I don't get a chance to get out there with him. So it made more sense to move it out. Hopefully in a week or so, things will improve. And when we get to the fish counts here in a little bit, you'll see why I talked about it that way. But overall, very, very tough fishing. If you are going to be, just changing gears and you're thinking, well, God, what else could I go do? Don't give up on chasing some coke. I know that's my go-to thing, but around here locally, that's a really good option. Also, walleye fishing is also a good option. I might actually give that a chance this week just to see if my report that I gave about a month ago now may have changed. We'll see how that works out. So if there's other things that you'd like to do, other things you'd like to chase, give it a week or so on the Columbia in particular. We'll cover that ground at that point. Anyway, let's take a look at the fish counts, and we're going to show you that 10-year average again. I don't know, Ryan, I might just forget the 10-year average. We'll get there. It was too depressing, all right? It really was, just depressing. Willamette, no sense in even showing that. That's a little tear in the eye. A little bit of a bump yesterday. Now, I was hoping, me, I'm trying to find excuses, right? I was hoping to take a look and see that Bonneville was just bouncing the water heavy yesterday. Well, that's not the case. They were actually had dropped the level at Bonneville, and in a lot of cases that will improve the migration of fish going over the dam itself. Well, that didn't really happen. And I'm not putting the blame all on one user group, although they do a very good job of taking them all out at one time in 12-hour stretches and big giant nets. But this is just not good, right? Now, I'm just going to say that based on that 10-year average, you said, well, go ahead, let's just throw it. I mean, again, it's not it hurts, right? But it'll give you a better idea. He's going to enlarge it here in a second. You'll see that 10-year, which is the black line, blue year is last year, the red line is this year. We are ready for a bounce, right? There's always going to be some sort of little vault, and then it comes back down. So it's still not out of the realm of normal, right? But we'll see. It's going to be in the next couple of days. I'm hoping the timing for next week, for me at least, because so one of the reasons why I could never be a guide. I'm a week away, and I'm still stressing. Crazy. But let's just hope that we start seeing a big push of fish starting to make their way upriver. And based on that timeline, or what you see here, the 10-year and last year, well, that very well could still happen. So can't be too negative on it yet, but still just tough out there. It's based on timing, and it looks like things will change here in a bit. Hopefully that's the case. Procure, though, don't forget, we're going to talk about some different scents that you can use, in particular power bait, right? But if you want to have something to stuff all those stuffer baits with, here's a great chance. Once a week, they do a giveaway. Send Jason an email at procure.com, and they will pick a winner each week. And this one is strictly for those stuffer baits where you can get all the, to be very honest with you, with all those little pieces of the puzzle, minus, you know, some of the sodium sulfites and some of the monster bites and this and that, that you can kind of play with. That mix right there will get you bites out there on the water, no question. But there you go. Send that in, and hopefully that will get you a bite or two when you're out there chasing some fish around. But let's check in with Andy Carson. We haven't had a chance to do that for quite a while, Andy.
Yeah.
How you been, man?
I'm doing all right. You know, I was so looking forward to our fishing trip tomorrow that we originally had scheduled. And then Owen said, you know what, it's not going to be a fishing trip. It's going to be a boat ride. Yes. So we're pushing it all back a week, and hopefully it'll all come together. And if you get nervous and stressed about that, I get nervous and stressed because Mrs. Carson back at home expects me to bring home something tasty to eat that I caught. So hopefully we'll have some great success a week from tomorrow.
Well, I cheated, Andy. I already sent you home with something just to just to cover maybe what might happen on. Phew!
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you know how that goes.
All right.
Look at this smoke that we have out there. Portland Thorns camera. You can see the smoky sunshine reflecting off the top of the stadium there. 66 degrees, the current temperature that we have at PDX. Look at this air quality. It is an issue out there for a lot of folks, especially from the Cascades over to the northeastern portion of the state, where we have that very unhealthy air quality. And of course, up into Washington, the big fire up there around Spokane, causing all kinds of issues into the gorge. A little bit unhealthy to very unhealthy for some folks. And then right around the Portland area, most of us are looking at moderate air quality right now. So you can be out there. But I mean, if you're sensitive to that, you might want to really limit your time outside. It's all the way up to 70 in Scappoose right now compared to 50 in Vernonia, 66 Portland, 65 Sandy, 59 degrees down in Estacada. We are looking at some rain showers headed our direction, not necessarily today, but as we get into tomorrow morning. Look at all that rain over on the east side of the state. Some of the remnants of Tropical Storm Hillary that we're watching, that's likely what that is going to be surging up from as we go through the morning on Monday, and then we take that into Tuesday with some more showers. Will not have an impact on us here in the valley, but definitely into central and eastern Oregon in particular. So that 7-day forecast, smoky conditions today, gets pretty hot up to 90, 81 tomorrow, beautiful day, partly cloudy, 79 on Tuesday with a few more clouds, 83 on Wednesday. Then it heats up again Thursday, Friday into the low 90s with mostly sunny skies. Then on Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 89 degrees. And I'm very excited, Owen, to have a little bit of that treat you brought me here this morning. I'll be having that later today.
Well, like I told you, there's a reason why I chase ducks 80 days a year. That's just that simple. But I do have a question, okay? So the east side is where I spend my time targeting deer and elk during bow season. Is there any concern with lightning coming in with the remnants of Hillary coming through?
With this storm, it seems like there's a lot of rain involved with it, the way it's coming up. I'm not really anticipating much in the way of any lightning at this point in time, but hopefully we'll see how that all comes together.
Absolutely. So obviously a huge concern. Andy, thank you very much. Have a great Sunday, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Everyone, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back for the first time, and I can't believe that we're actually saying that. Are you sure? Anyway, he'll know. Ryan's got a much better noggin than I do. Ted Liu, he's the fishing attorney for us here at Outdoor GPS, along with our former fishing attorney, fishing lawyer, Rob Dolton, and Eric Lindy, all from Buoy 10. We'll find out how the fishing is for them, real time, with video and hopefully audio. We'll see you then.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by CCA Oregon, fish focused, member driven, and by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear.